review for the Chapter 4 test, and we're looking at, you'll get a problem that asks for the best estimate. And when we're rounding fraction, if it's less than a half, it's 0. The rounding number stays the same, or it's 0. If it's a half or greater, you increase the rounding number 1. In the case of the ones is the rounding number. So 4/5 is greater than a half, because 4 is more than half of 5. It's almost 1. So we increase the rounding number by 1. 4 times 2/7. Well, 2/7 is less than half, because 2 is less than half of 7. So that stays at 8. So the answer would be 32. 8 times 4. An estimate would be 32, the best estimate. Converting milligrams to grams. So I always think of King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. I like to write the little acronym out. This is my units here, meters, liters, and grams. So I have milligrams to grams. I'm moving the decimal once, twice, 3 times to the left. 1, 2, 3. So it should be 0.64. So the decimal points are right after the 6 here. 0.64, and this 0 just can get eliminated. And the proper way to write a decimal is 0 in the ones place, 64. So which is the following is greater than 5 meters? Well, once again, I'm going to write my little King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. And this is kilo, hecto, deca, the unit, liters, meters, grams, deci, centi, milli. So from meters here to millimeters, I'm moving the decimal once, twice, 3 times to the right. Once, twice, 3 times. So let's see, once, twice, 3 times. That's it. Let me erase that. So it would be 500. So I think I found it on the first one. Let me check that 5,000 millimeters. So 0.5 and millimeters to 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. We 500 millimeters is half a meter. So my answer is A. And that is correct. So I don't need to go on to the others because there's only going to be one correct answer. But you could just check all of them. Let me check one more. 5 meters to kilometers. So I'd be moving the decimal once, twice, 3 times to the left. Once, twice, 3 times. Here, 0.0005, 0005. Well, those two are equal. So I'm going to move on. I already found the one that's greater, so let's go on. We're solving 2/3 x equals 5/8. And we've been doing a lot of these equations this year. And how do we undo the multiplication? By division. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide each side by 2/3. 2/3 divided by 2/3 is just x. 5/8 divided by 2/3. I do the inverse and multiply. 5/8. Inverse operation of division is multiplication. So I do the inverse. Is this 5/8 divided by 2/3 is the same as 5/8 times 3/2. And that's going to give me 15/16. And there I are right here. Okay, so you get a problem like that. Just remember, if they multiply, you undo it by division to isolate the x. If they're dividing, you multiply. If they're subtracting, you add. I think we got that. So here we have another where it's a division problem. A divided by 2 7/10 equals 81. So how do I undo this and isolate the A? A over 22.7. I write 2.7 over 1. That cancels out. I'm left alone with A. Now I have to do the same thing to the 81. So times 2.7. And 81 times 2.7 is not that. It's 8.1. Got to read the problem correctly. So 8.1, 8 and 1/10 times 2.7 is 21 and 87 hundredths right here. And we know that if you were to solve this out here, I'm not going to do it on camera, when you get your answer, you would get 2,000. You just multiply it without the decimals, and you get 2,187. And then our little trick is to count how many numbers are behind the decimal point. 1, 2 are behind the decimal point. 1, 2, 21.87. Okay, let's say we're going to have a word problem like this. Nate works at a grocery store. He has 7.5 pounds of raisins. He's dividing, they even tell you the operation, into 1/8 pound packages. How many packages can he make? So we're taking 7.5 pounds of raisins, and he's dividing them into 1/8 pound packages. So in dividing these fractions, a couple things I need to do. I need to write this as an improper fraction. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15 halves. And the inverse operation of division is multiplication. 7.5 divided by 1/8 is the same as 7 times 8 ones. And I can simplify before I multiply. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. And 15 times 4. I know 15 times 2 is 30, so 15 times 4 is 60. 60 ones, or that's just plain old 60 packages. All right, PKG for packages. So 60 packages. So we'll have a problem like that. And then here we have another one of those. We've got to multiply each side, isolate the b. b over 2 and 4/10 equals 9.9 and 2/10. So I multiply this side by 2.14. Cross cancel here before I multiply. I have b over 1 or just b. And that equals 9.2, 9 and 2/10, times 2 and 4/10. So I can write this out. 9.2 times 2.4. Just multiply it normally. I have 8. 4 times 9 is 36. My placeholder here, because now I'm going 20 times 2 is really 40. 2 times 9 is 18. Oh, getting messy here. And I get 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. 8, 3, 1, 12. And 2. Count the decimal points. 1, 2 places are behind the decimal point. I get 22, 1, 2, 22.8 hundredths. 22 and 8 hundredths is my answer. Okay. Last one. We're simply dividing. So we have 81 and 7/10 divided by 8.6. Let me write that a little better. 8.6. Sorry about that. 8 and 6/10. 8 and 6/10. Now, if we did this in class with a bunch of numbers. So we move the decimal over once here, move the decimal once here. It doesn't change our value. After moving the decimal places out of the way, I can just divide as normally, because 81 and 7/10 divided by 8 and 6/10 is the same thing as 817 divided by 86. We practice that with zeros and stuff. So 817 divided by 86 goes about 9 times. And 9 times 86, so I'm going to get 774. And I subtract, and I'm going to get 43. Now I have a remainder here, and the way to deal with decimals, my decimals right here, decimal points right here, I can just keep adding zeros and bringing them down if I want to. And 430 divided by 86, so I'm going to is going to go with 5. 5 times 86 is going to give me 430. And now I have a remainder of 0. And instead of writing remainder something when we divide, we're going to be adding zeros here. We can add zeros all day long and bring them down until we get an answer or determine it's a repeating digit. So now my decimal points here, it needs to go up in my straight up into my quotient here, because it's really 9 and 5/10. So this one is 9 and 5/10. So if you could do these problems, you should do quite well on the test. Good luck.